But before we get into today's games, it's time to check in with QuickShot and the guys at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, D-Man. I am Trevor QuickShot Henry alongside David Freak Turley, and we are happy to be joined once again at the analyst desk by OG and Costa Monte Cristo, Evil Geniuses Crepper, and of course Council Logic Gaming's Double Lift. Guys, before we dissect today's semi-final matchup between Fnatic and Royal, we need to take a look back at yesterday's highlights from that insane series.
The first game of the Season 3 World Championship semifinals was highlighted by crazy fights that kept things crazy close between SKTT1 and Najin Black Sword.
Are they going to keep going for it though? Expression going to dive in. Here comes Prey from the side, and all of a sudden he gets the burst kill on towards Faker. Impact and Bengi. Oh, Nagne going deep. He's going to die from the tower. Piglet picks that one up in the end. A crazy fight, ends in 3 for 2.
Najin's Nagne came up huge with his play on Gragas, and Sword picked up the victory in Game 1.
Now Kane has re-engaged. The Solar Flare locks down Faker. Strangleforce throws him up there. They've traded 1 for 1.
1 for 1, but Mandu surely will fall. Actually managing to walk away for now with Ignite ticking. There's a double, the barrel coming down. Now Expression going very low. Mandu will finish that one up with his passive, but there is another barrel coming in. Nagne picks up the triple.
Sword are going to pick up Game 1 in the series.
Great win from them. They force it through there in the end.
Game 2 was a complete turnaround for SKTT1, and they would go on to secure a very one-sided victory to even the series at 1 game apiece.
Here they come!
Wow, the shockwave comes down. Prey, he's going to be finished off, and look at Piglet ripping through Sword here. That's 3 men down. Triple kill. Is he going to be able to pick up 4? The barrel comes back, but it's 4 kills for them coming in total. SKTT1 pick up game number 2 here and bring us all square at 1-1.
In Game 3, Nagne's Gragas continued to impress, and Najin Sword would pick up the win, moving them 1 step closer to a ticket to the finals.
Oh, he got him! He gets him with the ultimate. Now Benji's caught out. He manages to get popped. The Blood Bell's been activated. Nagne's going to throw down a barrel. That explodes.
And that is the win. 2 games to 1 now for Najin Black Sword.
Looking to close out the series in Game 4, things could not have started any better for Najin Sword.
Watch runs right into him.
Oh, he's going to go down. This is so close. He's still alive.
Nice. Okay.
Benji gets taken out for first blood.
Unfortunately for Sword, that was the only thing to go right, and SKT would force a 5th and deciding game.
Kane, Julie gonna fall from this one. Piglet picks up that kill. Prey tries to get the kill. He's not got him though. Prey going super low, and he will fall. Piglet picks up the double. There is the victory. And it's gonna be a bit of a surrender there coming in at the end, and that leaves us at 2-2 now.
With a trip to the finals on the line, SKTT1 turned to their superstar mid laner.
Faker still alive. Now Nagne's in trouble.
He's got the shockwave still alive, and there is the shockwave coming down, but Faker so very low. Expression dies. Faker still alive. Protect comes in. Kane's trying to get the kill. Kane does get the kill.
And it was Faker one last time. His beautiful shockwave locked up an incredible semi-final win for SKTT1.
Nagne re-engages a massive shockwave, throws 3 of them together. The first victim is watched as the rest of Sword are on the retreat. Ladies and gentlemen, SKT have done it.
This is the final for SKTT1. They will be representing Korea at the Staples Center in the World Final.
That was a phenomenal series between SKTT1 and Najin Black Sword, and I have to be honest, I wasn't expecting it to be as close as it actually turned out to be. 3-2 in favor of SKT. Yeah. What were some of your highlights from that series, Monty?
For me, it was actually Nagne's Gragas. He really showed that he's a world-class mid-lane player. We had a lot of questions about him coming in, but he played so well, and I can't wait to see how he does in the next season of Champions.
For me, it was pretty much Bengi. I really like the way he jungles, his vision-centric style, early expanding lead. If SKT is ahead, they will never get behind again. If SKT is behind, they have issues with getting ahead again, but that's all because of the way Bengi plays. He buys a lot of wards, almost reminds me of Season 2, where people were buying a lot of oracles and just make jungling mobility boots / vision-based jungle style, and it's really nice to see that how different jungle styles are coming into this tournament.
Yeah, for me, it's also just the way SKT handles their leads. When they get ahead, 3 to 4K gold ahead, there's no way you're going to come back from that. Like, anytime they got a lead against Sword, I just immediately assumed the game is over for Sword. Just look at Game 5, where at like 24 minutes, they just push mid, Faker got a godlike Orianna ulti, and then they closed the game out at 26 minutes.
For me, I actually have to give a lot of props to Piglet and Mondu's duo lane there for SKT, because coming into that match, we were like, all right, so Faker's going to win mid, but then no one's going to stop Prey and Kang. They better 2v1 it, because they'll get destroyed. And Piglet and Mondu showed up. They actually won their lane most times. We even saw some of those plays in the highlight reel. Those guys stepped up, and I think a lot of that was them carrying into the finals.
Yeah, I definitely feel like SKT finish a game much more efficiently than most of the other teams here at this tournament. And with that semi-final wrapped up, let's take a look at the very nearly completed tournament brackets.
Yeah, so after their exciting best-of-5 series victory, I think it could be said that Korea's SK Telecom T1 has lived up to that pre-tournament hype. They're now sitting in the World Final, waiting for the winner of today's matchup.
Yeah, and that does bring us to today's semi-final series. Royal Club versus Fnatic. So what do you guys think that these teams have to do in order to pick up a win in this series and join SKT at the Staples Center next week? Let's start this one off with Doublelift.
So my prediction is that Royal's solo lanes are going to either go even or lose, just because Soaz and Peke have shown that they're so strong. Like, these guys are really, really good. At the same time, if they lose, because Fnatic runs double TP, they can't allow Uzi to get TP down. So I expect a lot of 2v1ing. Just let Uzi get farmed, let him carry the game, and just don't allow your solo lanes to get too far behind and make TP plays.
At the same time, though, if they do choose to match the lineups 2v2 and 1 against 1, top-level players should be able to beat their opponents in lane if they run a summoner teleport, because they're effectively one teleport, or one summoner spell down, rather. So we really hope that they scouted ahead and they know how to deal with teleports, and they put the pressure on the TP lane, because that nullifies at least one guy helping in. So if you go for Soaz, then only Peke can join. If you go for Peke, only Soaz can join. But if you go for bot lane, for Uzi, well, then both of them can join.
Yeah, and actually, I am really excited by this match because there's a lot of really different things going on. So you talked about the teleport style and whatnot. Royal, they are very dive heavy. They look for team fights. The term we have sort of coined is like the roaming death squad. They group up and they fight you really quickly, whereas Fnatic really want to spread the game out and use those teleports, use map mobility, and split teams up. And I think that's a very interesting difference in styles. The other thing that I really think is interesting is a tactic that Royal uses that I think more teams should adopt, which is they will sacrifice a lane more or less to build an advantage somewhere else. So for example, in their game 1 against OMG, it's 2v1 lanes. And at 7 minutes, Renekton recalls. And he's like, you're going to kill my turret, I don't care. Just, it's free, we're literally not going in there anymore. Walks to the bottom lane, 4v2 dives the champion, steals blue buff, takes dragon. He's like, we're going to give away this and take these 3 other things. And that's a tactic I think is incredibly potent that people should learn from.
I mean, for me, I think this is actually a big style mismatch in favor of Fnatic. Like we've been talking about, just this style of picking is so different than the way most Chinese teams play. And OMG, I think, really dropped the ball in the quarterfinal against Royal because they kept engaging Royal in these team fights. And if you look at Royal's build, especially in that game 2 against OMG, they tend to build Glass Cannon, Liandry's first Rumble, Zed, Vayne. These are champions that are highly vulnerable to picks, and Fnatic is a team that makes those picking plays, and so I can see them taking somebody out and then going in for a 5v4 team fight and winning.
Well, we'll see if they can make that work for them. You know, with everything we've chatted about, it is almost time to get your predictions in for today's semi-finals. But first, let's actually take a look at how you guys have done so far at picking the winners here at Worlds. Monte Cristo continues to sit on top of the standings with that brilliant record of 40-11, while the casters, Crepo, and the viewers are all 1 game behind. And even though Doublelift is 3 games back, you can actually tie with Monty if you ignore your coach just one more time and pick a different winner. But just like yesterday, the semi-final series is worth 3 points. So let's start to get some predictions in for this series. Fnatic or Royal Club? Who is going to be taking this series and why? I want to start with Freak.
I think it's Fnatic. I think that they've got a lot of the edges. Apparently the crowd also thinks Fnatic's going to win. Spoiler alert, they might have won the online poll. Yeah, I think that they're an incredibly strong team. They've looked so good throughout this World Championship. After the first day, they've looked awesome.
Crepo?
I'll have to go with Fnatic as well, multitude of reasons. If I go back to Europe and I don't vote Fnatic, I'll probably get lynched. At the same time, Peke was looking really scary this morning. He told me, like, better vote for us or else. So, yeah, I'm going for Fnatic. And generally, on the game level of play, I agree with what Monty said. Their, like, picking compositions really work well. Yeah, Royal can push it out really early and finish the game quick, but Fnatic, they've been here so many times. They know exactly what to do.
I mean, I'm taking Fnatic as well. I think we already talked about my reasoning a little bit, but this team has performed so admirably at this tournament, and we've said it before, but part of it is due to their very unique style, and Royal is not going to be very well practiced against that. I believe in Fnatic here.
Well, I'm going with Royal. Not only because this is the only way I'm going to catch up with my coach, but Uzi has really, like, when I kind of look at AD's play so far in the World Championships, I always identify mistakes and I write them down, but most of them aren't that big. When I look at Royal play, Uzi literally makes 0 mistakes every game. So this is why I think even though Pushu has had a great tournament so far, Uzi's going to crush Fnatic.
And just to remind you once again, if you get this right, Royal win, you will be able to at least tie up Monty on the top of the stage. The rest of the guys, we'll have to see where the vote goes.
Crepo, last place, high five.
Well, now for you guys at home, it is your chance to pick the team that you think will win their way into next week's Season 3 World Final.